Hi, it's Xavier here at the back door, top of the so-called nursery, and I've gone on about the fact that if you're really lucky, you should be able to get 3 distinct pruning cycles out of your larch in a growing season. Now I'm sure that you saw me do a light prune on this one probably 6 weeks ago. I think it was about 6 weeks ago. And in fact, there was less growth on it then, so it was just a few. Just giving it a spin round, you can see we've got a lot more growth that's come up on this. The centres. In fact, this year it's probably the best it's been for quite some time. Can't take all the way around because of the little wooden bit. So what we'll do is that you've seen the first prune. This is going to be the second prune. Same rules that I've applied. If you're confused in the end, basically, if you want length, leave more length on. Remember that you're able to actually wire in reduction, so you can actually look at buds that way. So remember, in your head, you think about the fact that you can actually wire if you want. But in my case, with something like this is what I call, dare I risk offending anyone, but this is what I call a mature and finished tree. So it's in its refined state. So all I'm now trying to do is to get better ramification. So I'm always going to be pruning right back to the best possible buds with the closest possible internodal distance. And rather than go through that again and again every time I do a larch, straightforward, I'll refer you back to, there's 2 videos which took you through the detailed pruning of a larch. So yeah, so I'm going to get on with this now, and then hopefully, if I'm really lucky, in another 6 weeks I may just get a 3rd pruning cycle out of it before it goes into the autumn, late autumn. Okay, so we'll get on with that, and then after that I'm going to do the same thing with my Cloud Larch project. So without me gabbing my gums much more, I'll crack on with it. Just to get an idea of how this thing's flushed, I mean, you can certainly see where the cutbacks that I did on this one, I don't know how well you can see it, but here you've got 1, 2, I cut back to those 2 buds there and they're both flushing out, and that's going to give me some bifurcation. But also further back there's a flush, and you can see all the way along here where I've cut back, getting a lot more pushing back from either the points that I cut back to, or if it doesn't like the point I cut back to, it's actually flushing some of the other ones further back down the branch that didn't activate earlier in the year. I've got a lovely example here at the top, which is where you want it. Literally the 2 buds, there's one there and one no more than 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters away. Just perfect for some perfect, absolutely perfect. And you know, when you get to this stage, it's a pleasure to be working on it. You know, I think I said to you in the early video, I may bring it further out and it'll actually get a lot higher, but for the base level of 3 pads I'm really happy. It's not everybody's cup of tea, I'm sure, but I like it. And as I say, it's the first ever tree that I've developed from start to finish, whichever way you look at it. Okay. Just so you're aware, and obviously if you get them like this, where the shoots, I mean that's extended 1.5 centimeters, it's quite bushy, it's juvenile, there's no point pinching it or pulling it off, just leave it as it is, and you'll get a few of them like that. I used to make the mistake of trying to pull those back as well, and to be fair, all it did is it stunted the tree a little bit. So here, where potentially got this big area that has got room to grow, and I'm debating about allowing those to grow up, create another setup here. I'm not sure how that would look, but that's what's in my head a little bit. So I might get more length on these and potentially wire these, and in the end, if I'm not happy with it, come spring next year, I'll just cut them right back. Reasonable amount of length. I mean, it's not a massive amount of length I've left on there, but there's 5 buds on there. And I'll do the same on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, just so you well, I mean, you'll obviously know those who've been doing the larches. If you don't do anything at all with these, they'll just extend and extend and extend, and then you'll start getting quite a lot of budding from that long shoot, lots of different points. So, you know, there is nothing stopping you if you're uncertain. Certainly if you're in a tree that's under development, just let the branch run, and then you can cut right back to some of the shoots that have developed naturally from where they are. If that made sense at all. Now, here's the classic example. This branch here, this pad, which I don't want, so I'm going to be taking all the way back down to the whorl. whorl, I've explained this before, but it is literally that whorl of initial needles, and there's a little button there that should activate the 2 buds at the base of the whorl. So basically I'm telling that one to start again, and what I really want is 2 to come straight out. It doesn't happen all the time. In fact, it happens less time than you might like, but it's a process. We've got 3 shots at it in the case of this growing season. That's pretty well done. Okay, well that's pretty well all the stuff out. Just want to get these horrible weeds out. So what did we remove? About that. As I say, it's probably the best this tree has looked for a very, very long time. Part of me still wondering about changing the potting angle. I don't know, it's been like this for a very long time, and obviously it's on my logo as well, but I don't know, I definitely want to change the pot. I'm thinking of a Dawn Isaac, really scraped bark and rough and prehistoric looking, to be honest, to match with these really gnarly roots. I also want to make it a little bit deeper. I've noticed with the larches that I put in deeper pots, they seem to do better, certainly in the summer weather. Got a few of my larches that the needles quite a lot of the needles are yellowed off. And obviously the thing with larches, they're prolific growers in terms of their roots, you know, there's not an issue with something getting this potted every year, to be honest. Certainly I wouldn't leave it more than 2 years. I think that one, coming in and out of angle, I know. Is done. Let's go to the cloud, so to speak. And just to give you an idea of how it looks from up above. It's quite a good spread on it, so to speak. And the next one we're going to have a look at is the cloud there. You've seen this a number of times in different videos, but today there's definitely a lot of decent growth, and it took a little bit off on its first prune earlier in the year, but I'm going to pull the top right off. I'll pull it off, so to speak, the apex, bring that right back, and then reduce the amount I take off from each of the different pads. And on the lowest pad I'll probably leave quite a lot. So let's get in and do that. Okay, so looking down here, it's hard to see, but this is right down at the base here. I want a lot more length, so these ones I'm actually going to wire out. So what I'm going to do is get rid of some conflicts. There's a conflict here, it's lower back here. I was hoping to get some of these buds. There's some buds right back here on this that might actually activate, and I'm actually going to go right back to them, see if I can get it to do that. So here, a couple of them have grown out, but not massive. I want the pad to be here, so this is almost coming out as far as I want it, so I might actually keep a lot of this, which means I'm going to bring the pad in around on this one, so looking at a bud point. There we go. Again, this hasn't really done what I wanted, so I'm going to take it further back. Nothing's grown from there yet, so we've got the shape there, the teardrop I want. I now at least know where I want to be coming back down to here. That will get wired closer in. That's some nice. And again, there's about seven different budding points. We'll see which one come. And I've got this tier in mind. That could be wired into a better position, so and then there's a branch here, very brown. Not convinced the buds have done anything at all. And sometimes they do, they just die off. And then knowing that this one's been very, very profuse, and it may be that I may actually remove that. It could be a decision I make, because all the energy is going here, it's clearly not going down there. But you know what? A decision's been made. There we go. Well, I didn't know I was going to make that decision. So now knowing that's not going to be an issue in my design, I can actually say, let's start with this grey, and this is much better for me to form a nice leaf pad. So I want to decide where the leaf pad comes out to. Let's have a look. Again, I've got in my mind a wiring regime for this, so my cutting points may not be that obvious to you. I'm just making sure I've got a good number of potential buds to activate. Traditionally each year I've actually cut back far too short, and I think I've really stunted the growth prospects of it because of it. So this time I'm actually going to be quite let's say I'm actually going to leave a lot more growth on it than I normally would have before. And there's this here, there's actually the potential there, the way that's coming out, to create another level, which is what will happen on that. So that will get wired. Got a bit of dyeing there, so get rid of it from that point. Okay, that's a rough pad there. So now we're going to move over to this side. Okay, so it's certainly not going to be the same size, be bringing it in. I want the growth down there, and here I don't want anything higher up the tree. So again, we're looking at the something going up. It's not too badly masked by this one. See, this one it got pruned really quite heavily in the first pruning, but there's literally just a few little things there. So this won't get a second one now. I'll wait another 4 or 5 weeks probably. And that's why all the larches don't respond the same. So we've got this pad, this is where I'm looking to develop out here, so these I want longer. Looking to see where the main part of the pad will be out here, so we'll be bringing it in. Okay, so that's that one done. Moving ourselves up a bit. This is now about no energy up here. I want the energy that way. Okay. And I think sometimes that's the difficult thing, it's knowing it's like here, it's a great big mess, but actually I know that's going to come downwards. So I want a couple for the length there. That one's going to be up a little bit more. So that's going to create your levels there. So it's trying to remember that when you do your pruning. Although you've got these coming up, there's definitely potential to wire them that way. So I'm going to think of those as being horizontal. And as I say, yes, you could try to wire, but you can see the amount of needles you've got here, and a lot of them are yellowing at the ends as well. So, you know, the more I touch it, the more damage I'd potentially do to these. So it tends to be a bit hands-off sometimes. And just trying to picture what you're going to do, either in the spring, which could be when I wire these next. Okay, so that's that pad done. Wow. Anyway, yeah, so this has been kept compact, just 1 or 2 buds, 3 or 4 buds, and then here we're coming up to 4 or 5 buds. It's a slow process, something like this, because each time you're building up just a little bit more structure, a bit more ramification. And the only downside with it is the more you take off here at this stage, the much longer it's going to take for this to thicken up. And that was probably the only reason. I just remember why I kept that branch on now, you see. I was so busy wanting to explain a gene that I forgot that was actually going to be a sacrifice branch. That was going to be allowed to grow right out so I could get more in there. It may be that I end up removing that part so the tree stops there. But yeah, come a long way, this has. So yeah, so that's the second pruning cycle for a couple of larches. As I say, you probably know I've got 30, 40 larches to do. They all have their different unique look about them, and I'd love to show you them all, but to be fair, the process is the same, so you may see some of those other larches later in the year or next year. Cheers!